You're watching Central Illinois on the Record.
All right, welcome back. We are joined by Dr. Ali Riaz from Illinois State University. Thank you very much for joining us again. We had you on just a few weeks ago. We were talking about the Iran nuclear deal and the United States pulling out. And now, just a few days ago, President Trump is in Singapore with the dictator Kim Jong Un, talking about nuclear disarmament. And leading up to this summit, we had heard about the complete, irreversible, verifiable denuclearization. And at the end of this brief, I guess, summit, we'll call it, we get a signed declaration, a couple pages long. And how would you define it?
Paul, good to be back. you already brought up what is verifiable in this agreement. How do you see the irreversible part of it? And this is the irony of this whole thing, that as we see, on the one hand, President Trump is tearing apart the Iran nuclear deal, right? Which has all these things internationally guaranteed, supervised, and of course monitored. And here we go with a deal with North Korea, which doesn't have anything, none of those things included. Who is going to monitor? How it is going to be monitored? Would this be reversible? Would this be complete denuclearization? What is the time frame? What is the pathway? There is nothing, no international involvement, and above all, United States is giving away things without getting anything out of it, and that is the most worrying part of it, that even before a single thing happened, any steps from the North Koreans, and this process has legitimized a dictator.
Yeah, the president says what the United States has gotten were 3 prisoners returned to the United States. Obviously, he says none of this would have happened unless the United States got Otto Warmbier, obviously another prisoner back, but he died a few days after his return. No nuclear testing has been done, obviously, for several months by the regime. But as you mentioned, the United States has agreed, seemingly to the surprise of the Pentagon when it was announced, and to our allies in South Korea, that we would suspend what the president referred to as war games, but training exercises with South Korea.
Right. I mean, my heart goes out to Otto's family. I mean, but we didn't discuss human rights situation. Briefly mentioned according to President Trump. How is that possible? How is that possible? How that actually goes with the standard that we, United States, should live up to, and actually attract any people and tell others that they should be actually adhered to these international standards. That's what happened. All these things that particularly you mentioned about what is described as war games, also the terms being used, provocative. This is the term used by China. It's used by North Korea. This is not provocative. In the U.S. lexicon, it has never been described as a provocative. So by using those terms, by using the rhetoric of China, or for that matter, North Koreans one, it is not helping the cause. And as I said, that principal point that has been argued all along, irreversible pathways, right? Where it is. Has there been any mention? I understand in one single summit you cannot get everything. I do understand. But is there a commitment? Did North Korea provide anything, any firm commitment other than aspiration? Far better agreement was made in 1994, right? And what did we see? That North Korea reneged those things, went, the other way. Now, what is the situation? There is not even a commitment, a promise, an aspiration. I don't think that's going to help us.
After the summit, we didn't even have a firm timeline for when we would reconvene a meeting. And we didn't even have a name of an individual with whom Secretary Pompeo would meet. Some have said that could be because Kim has had a history of murdering his top leaders. So you may not even know with whom you could meet in the future.
Right. I mean, and we have seen even his brother has been killed, right?
Yeah.
His uncle was killed. I mean, those are the issues that I think that most important with respect to the human rights issue. That it was not brought up. It's a sensitive issue, but it has to be, because bypassing the human rights issue. And what would be the role of North Korea in the region? What we have seen with this kind of agreement, practically, as I said, it has legitimized a dictator, a reclusive totalitarian regime.
You said that a couple times.